Imagine a farmer named Jose. Upon arriving at the airport to purchase his private jet, he is met with rudeness and prejudice from the employees and other customers. From the moment he steps in, the salesperson then judges him solely based on his appearance, assuming that someone who looks like Jose could never afford such a luxurious jet. The salesperson had expected an elegant, well-dressed buyer, not a modest farmer. Despite their assumptions, Jose maintains his composure and expresses genuine interest in the aircraft. As he evaluates the jet with curiosity, the salesperson grows visibly impatient. "Well, if you're not serious, I'll have to attend to someone else," the salesperson says dismissively. Shocked by this blatant disrespect, Jose calmly replies, "Actually, I am interested in buying." The salesperson's hostility only intensifies upon realizing Jose's genuine intent. Other customers begin to whisper judgmental remarks, loud enough for him to hear. "He doesn't look like someone who can afford this," one sneers. "He must be lost," another adds. Cruel glances pierce through Jose, making him feel exposed and uncomfortable. Though purchasing the jet has always been his dream, he starts to wonder if it's worth enduring such humiliation. Even so, Jose refuses to back down. Determined, he decides to press on. Moments later, a tap on his shoulder startles him. He turns around quickly, holding his head high, bracing himself for another affront. To his surprise, he is met not with hostility, but with a warm smile. It's an old friend. Standing beside him was a man wearing a striped shirt and pants, his slightly out-of-shape belly adding to his friendly, unpretentious demeanor. "Well, if it isn't my old friend Jose, what brings you here?" the man asked with a jovial tone, breaking the tension. Jose managed a small smile as they began to chat like old friends, though he couldn't fully shake off the judgmental stares around him. Their conversation offered a brief reprieve from the discomfort. "Are you here to buy a plane, Jose?" his friend asked casually. Jose hesitated, then replied, "I was thinking about it, yes, but I don't feel like I belong here, you know what I mean." "Ah, don't mind these rich snobs, they don't know anything," his friend said, chuckling, prompting Jose to laugh as well. But even amid the humor, Jose remained keenly aware of the whispered mockery and sideways glances. "He doesn't look like he's here to buy a jet. Maybe he just came for a picture," someone sneered. Jose's ears burned as he noticed a group of men preparing to take photos of him, their intentions clearly to ridicule rather than document. Their taunts grew louder, and he felt his unease rising. His heart raced as he began to follow his friend toward the exit, hoping to escape the cruel attention. Suddenly, a loud, authoritative voice cut through the air. "Hey, you there! The farmer who thinks he's buying a jet!" The words echoed across the room, silencing the chatter and drawing every eye to Jose. "Do you think anyone's going to take you seriously dressed like that? With that dirty hat? You should go back to your farm," the man jeered. Jose stopped in his tracks, his chest tightening as he turned slowly toward the source of the taunt. The room seemed to hold its breath as even the salesperson paused to watch. Though inexperienced with confrontation, Jose felt a surge of pride and determination rise within him. His heart pounded, but he steadied his voice and replied, loud enough for all to hear, "I'm buying a plane for myself, not to impress anyone." The room erupted in mocking laughter. "No matter what you do, you'll never be one of us," another man shouted. "Look at yourself. Your clothes are stained, your boots are dirty, you don't even look like a decent person." Jose's face flushed, but he met their taunts with quiet resolve, his determination growing stronger. Jose raised the corner of his mouth in a sardonic smile, his voice calm yet cutting. "I am more than decent. I'm someone with the courage to chase my dreams, even if it means going against the grain," he retorted. The men burst into laughter once again. "Oh, you must be dreaming," one sneered. "Let's count how many years it'll take you to save enough money. It'll take more than a lifetime. And even if, by some miracle, you manage to buy a jet, who's going to fly it for you? You're just a nobody. Go back to your farm and stick to what you're good at." Their laughter echoed, but this time, Jose's anger flared. He took a deep breath, stood tall, and looked directly at the man who had spoken. His voice was steady and resolute. "I'm not dreaming," Jose said firmly, "and I have proof." The mocking voices fell silent, curiosity overtaking the room. All eyes were on Jose as he reached into his pocket and pulled out a check, one that matched the exact price of the jet. You say I can't buy a jet? Jose asked, locking eyes with his detractors. The group was stunned. Shock spread across their faces, and some began to avert their gazes. The arrogance in their expressions was quickly replaced with embarrassment and unease. I think we should leave," one of the men stammered, avoiding Jose's piercing gaze. "We don't want any trouble." But Jose wasn't ready to let the matter go. Raising his voice, he commanded the attention of everyone present. "What's this? You think you can insult me without consequence? I want my son to hear about this," he declared, pulling out his phone. Jose dialed his son, his voice filled with a mix of anger and resolve. "You need to get here right now," he said. "There are several men discriminating against me, including the salesperson." Within the hour, Jose's phone buzzed with a return call. "I've arrived," his son said firmly. The airport doors swung open with a force that turned every head. In walked Jose's son, a tall, dark-skinned man impeccably dressed in a sharp suit. His commanding presence was a stark contrast to the assumptions the men at the airport had made. "Dad, are you okay?" Jose's son asked, concern evident in his tone. Jose nodded, a weary smile on his face. "Yes, I'm fine. Thanks to you." The men at the airport now shifted uncomfortably under the piercing gaze of Jose's son. His presence commanded respect, and his voice was firm as he addressed the group. "You'll pay for what you've done to my father," he said, his tone unwavering. "I'm here to make things right." He moved through the group methodically, demanding names, titles, and other information. "I'll sue each of you and the company you work for. Discrimination like this has no place here, or anywhere." With that, Jose and his son left the airport, their heads held high. As they walked to their car, the judgmental stares of the men followed them until they were out of sight. "I'm so proud of you," Jose said, placing a hand on his son's shoulder. His voice was filled with gratitude. In the weeks that followed, the case was taken to court. A mediation hearing was scheduled to address the incident. Jose's lawyers meticulously prepared, gathering evidence, witness statements, and documents that highlighted the blatant discrimination and humiliation he had endured. When the day of the hearing arrived, the courtroom buzzed with tension. Jose and his son presented their case with eloquence and resolve, their argument supported by undeniable facts. The judge, after hearing both sides, leaned forward with a stern expression. "From what I've seen, it's evident that Jose was treated unfairly," the judge began. "A person's appearance should never be grounds for discrimination. That is crystal clear." Jose felt a wave of relief wash over him, and he smiled timidly, sensing the tide turning in his favor. But the judge's next words tempered his optimism. "However," the judge continued, "I cannot ignore the fact that the employees involved also have their side of the story. There are always two sides to every situation." Jose's lawyer stood, his voice tinged with indignation. "With all due respect, Your Honor, my client is a hard-working and deserving individual. He should not have been subjected to such treatment." The judge raised a hand to silence him, his expression calm but firm. "You're right. Jose has every reason to feel indignation and to fight for his rights. No one should have to endure the kind of treatment he faced." Jose straightened in his seat, his confidence renewed as the courtroom seemed to sway in his favor. But the judge's next words took everyone by surprise. "However," the judge continued, "justice is not about retribution, it's about resolution. And while I find the actions of the employees reprehensible, there's an opportunity here to educate rather than simply punish. I propose a mediated resolution that includes training for the staff and public acknowledgement of the harm caused. I must also consider the company involved." The judge continued, his voice firm. "They have a reputation to maintain, a brand to preserve." The room fell silent, the tension palpable. "I believe," the judge said, "that instead of simply condemning the company, Jose and the company should work together to find a solution. If the company acknowledges its error and commits to changing its attitude, I may consider reducing the penalty." One of Jose's lawyers stood up, visibly outraged. "We cannot accept this proposal. The company committed a serious violation against Jose and must be held fully accountable." Another lawyer joined in, their voice rising. "Jose was humiliated by this company and its employees. We won't let this go without repercussions." The judge, clearly irritated by the lawyer's fervor, nodded in agreement. "If that's how you want to proceed, "Then we'll begin the trial," he declared coldly. "But remember, if you don't have solid evidence, you could lose everything." The trial began. Jose watched, a mix of interest and apprehension in his chest, as his lawyers built a compelling case. They highlighted the discrimination and humiliation he had endured, presenting witness testimonies and documents to support his claims. The company's lawyers tried to deflect the accusations, but Jose's team was diligent and confident. As the trial intensified, both sides fought desperately to prove their points. Jose remained optimistic, though his nerves were on edge. The evidence seemed to favor him, but the judge's stance remained unclear. Then, as the courtroom waited for the verdict, the doors suddenly opened and a familiar face entered. The judge raised an eyebrow. "Who wants to testify?" The new witness was a mysterious woman, a staff member from the airport, who had stepped forward, eager to testify. "Well, it seems we have another witness," the judge remarked, intrigued. "If you have relevant recordings, we'll accept them as evidence." Patricia, the witness, stepped forward with a determined look on her face. "I heard everything," she said loudly, "and I recorded it all. Of course, they tried to stop me, but I wouldn't let them treat Jose this way." The judge was taken aback by the sudden turn of events. Patricia connected her phone to the courtroom system and began playing the recording. As the recordings played, the room fell silent. The audio of mocking and derision echoed throughout the courtroom, sending a clear message to everyone present. When the recordings ended, the judge appeared visibly stunned. He gathered his papers, taking a moment to process what he had just witnessed. In light of the evidence presented, the judge declared, lowering his glasses and staring at the company's lawyers, "This court finds that Jose was indeed discriminated against and humiliated by this company." The judge paused, his voice growing firmer. "They have much to learn about respect." He continued, "Therefore, the court orders the company to pay a substantial fine and to conduct sensitivity training for all employees." A sharp gasp rippled through the courtroom. Jose felt a wave of victory wash over him. He walked out with a smile, his lawyers already discussing how to use the fine as an investment fund to help him buy an even better jet than before. With the settlement in hand, Jose returned to the airport, walking confidently with his head held high. The airport employees who had once mocked him now looked at him with embarrassment and disappointment. Stopping in his tracks, Jose turned to face the staff who had humiliated him. "Still think I'm a nobody?" he asked, his voice steady. Turning away, he declared loudly, "I'm going to buy my jet, but not from you. I'm taking my business to your competitor. They deserve my money, not you." With that, he walked confidently to the competitor's store, purchasing the best jet he could afford. As he boarded his new plane, the staff from the other store could only watch in regret. Jose flew home in his new jet, feeling more cheerful and confident than ever before. His wife and children welcomed him with open arms, and they gathered to celebrate his success. As Jose looked at his new jet with pride, he reflected on the valuable lessons he had learned through this experience. To all viewers, I hope you enjoyed following Jose's journey, the narrator's voice said. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.